I'm singing this song for my mother, the first to hold my hand. Any problem she would understand. I know I used to drive her crazy with my foolish ways as she led me through the teenage maze. She always knew.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and for this episode I am delighted to be joined by vocalist Emily Masser.
And so I sing this song for mother, who helped me to grow. And I love
If you're one of my new listeners, you should know that this podcast is inspired by a Quincy Jones quote, which goes something like, imagine what a harmonious world it would be if everyone shared a little of what they're good at. And this is where I talk to musicians about what they're good at. So whether they're Grammy winners, Grammy nominees, or just starting out, I'm really interested in finding out what makes them tick. Alongside Harmonious World, my blog contains album and live performance reviews, and the link for that is in the show notes, or just look up Hilary Seabrook Blogspot. So what you're listening to now is Emily Masser's Song for My Mother, which is on her new album, Songs with My Father. I hope you enjoy listening to our conversation. Welcome to Harmonious World, singer Emily Masser.
Hello, thanks very much for having me.
Well, it's very exciting because your album, Songs with My Father, has just come out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it has. It has.
So how did you go about recording this album and deciding on the tracks and that sort of thing?
It came quite easy, really, choosing the tracks, because obviously my dad's on the album, hence the title Songs with My Father. And we sort of sat down one night and put on a load of records and sort of just went, oh, I like that one. And then we'd both end up thinking, oh, but then there's that one. And we kind of just kept listening to things. The album's in memorial of my late mum. And so a lot of the tunes on there are some of her favourites. And we tried to sort of pay tribute to her as best we could on the album, whilst also making sure that it still kind of featured the whole band and what me and my dad do. So
sure. And actually that's a really nice touch, isn't it, that it's you with your dad, but it's in memory of your mum, which is just lovely.
Yeah, I think it somehow brought me closer to both of them, which is quite funny, because when me and my dad were recording it, there was something happened in the studio where we just thought, we both just had this memory that we'd totally forgotten about with my mum, and it was really nice. And obviously being able to play with my dad, it's like a dream come true, really. So
absolutely. So your dad is Dean Masser. He's a sax player, is that right?
He is, yeah.
Right, so he's responsible for the sax on the album.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you chose the rest of the band.
Well, the first person in the band that I sort of knew was a given was Steve Brown. And I didn't know he was a given because I thought he'd actually say no when I asked him. But I'd been listening to Steve forever, and he was one of the first people I met when I moved to London. And I just loved his playing, loved his personality, and I really, really wanted him to be part of the project. And so I went to watch Scott Hamilton at Pizza Express, and Steve put me on the guest list. And I asked him that day, I said, Steve, I'm going to record an album. And I was half expecting him to laugh at me and say, Emily, come on, I'm not doing this. And he was so keen to do it. And it was just really nice. And then after that, James Oston, the bass player, we'd worked together on another album. So it was really nice to kind of continue that relationship. And then Matches Gaia on piano. I was between a couple of piano players, but Matty was the best option, and I kind of knew it deep down. And him and Steve have a trio together. And so that relationship was already really built, and it was really great to play with them.
Yeah. And it does. It sounds wonderful. And so you take kind of jazz standards and then you just do your own thing with them. So
Yeah.
is that something that you really enjoy doing?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed sort of adding a bit of bebop to jazz standards because it's really funny because the first gig that I ever did was at a club that Susan May runs, who's Spike Robinson's wife.
Wow.
And she runs this club and she's hilarious because she says the first thing she said to me, she was like, my audience don't like scat in my club, not in my club, Emily. And so then I started a vote in the audience, which I don't think pleased her very much. And I asked the audience if they would like scat, and they all put their hands up. So it made me realize that just doing a bunch of bebop tunes probably isn't great for a singer because a lot of audiences aren't really accustomed to it yet. So I like to try and add a little bit of bop into each thing, and that happens on the first track of the album. I think we end up doing me and my dad do a little solly section and just before the end.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's a really nice bit. And I think what you do is the arrangements kind of they work to show off your voice really
Yeah,
well.
I hope so.
No, they do. They really do. They do. So while we're here, let's rewind a bit. Talk about your background.
Well, I was born in Wigan and grew up sort of in Wigan. And then at the age of 11, I went to Cheetham School of Music as a classical saxophone player, and really, really loved it. I lived and breathed classical saxophone and refused to even listen to any jazz. If my dad was practicing, I'd basically leave the house or something. I really did. I wanted to play the saxophone and sort of give my dad a little bit of credit, but I didn't want to be quite like him. So decided to go a bit rogue and do classical saxophone. And then I did my auditions for all the conservatoires on classical saxophone. And then it was only about 2 weeks into the Guildhall when I was sat in a saxophone class and I thought, I cannot do this any longer. If I have to listen to the Glazunov concerto one more time. And so then I did a little jam session with some friends and then joined the jazz course. Sort of easy as that, really. And I was really lucky. A lot of the teachers were really nice and were really useful and kind of helped get me up to date and stuff. So, and then that was that. And then I joined the Clark Tracy Quintet and then started my own band. And now I'm touring with that.
But as a singer, not as a sax player.
Yeah, as a singer. I know, a bit of a weird switch, isn't it, really? You'd expect it to go to saxophone, but
No, but that's good. It's really it's lovely that you found your thing actually relatively early.
yeah. I mean, it kind of feels really late to me because I've spent so much time studying music. I'm now in my 10th year of music education and I've only been doing singing for 2. So
Right.
it feels a bit late, but
Yeah, but no, that's good. That's really good. And you went to Guildhall, is that right?
yeah, I'm still there at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, when I show up, when I'm not busy on tour or traipsing about the UK.
But I think that's a good sign of a university course and where they're doing the right thing because that's what they're preparing you for.
Yeah, absolutely. And the new head of jazz, Jo Laurie, she's just absolutely incredible. I can't think of anybody more suited for the job, really. She does a really great job.
While I'm here, have you come across pianist Joe English?
I was in a rehearsal with Joe English yesterday.
Well, he is better known as Jinglish to us.
Okay,
Because
I'll say that
yeah,
in the next one.
yeah, because he was I do a bit of teaching as well. And where I teach, that's where he was until 2 years ago. So yeah, he's a real star as far as Hitchin Boys School is concerned. And he's
Right.
such a lovely guy.
Yeah, he's great, Joe. Yeah, we're doing a combo assessment at the moment, which the tutor is Matt Skelton for. And it's great fun. Me and Joe are sort of showing up for arrangements every week and kind of keeping it going, which is really nice. Yeah, he's a great player, really great player.
Yeah, he really is, isn't he? Yeah. Very good. Oh, brilliant. Right, so that's all your past, and we've got this album that's coming out. So what is next for you?
What's next? See, I love this question because it always just makes me think about a load of different things that I could do. I'm organising a tour currently for June and July, which is going to be a quartet tour where I'm going to play saxophone a little bit because I'm really trying to get into that. So at the moment, I'm doing a lot of saxophone practice. And then Alex Clark and I, who's kind of my sister in crime, we're going to be recording an EP towards the end of the year and hopefully touring that in March 2026. So there's quite a lot of exciting things coming up, along with trying to get a degree, which is my main focus, of course.
Of course it is. But yeah, well, there's no point in wasting your time while you're there. You might as well get a degree to show for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just need to keep telling myself that rather than practicing rather than writing my dissertation. So
yeah. Well, it's getting a balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, fantastic. And at the moment, you're touring this album.
I am. Yeah, it's really nice to kind of be on the road with my dad. We've never done that before, so yeah. I mean, it's a really lovely experience, and the band a dream to work with on and off stage. So
right.
I'm really, really lucky to have such a great group.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I shall make sure that in the show notes there's a link so that if people can catch you sort of towards the end of this tour and then in the June, July one with Alex, that sounds brilliant.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Oh, you too. Thanks very much for having me.
What's that there? And what's that under there? Daddy, oh hey, daddy.
Thank you for listening to that conversation with Emily Masser. What you're listening to now is Dat Dare, which is a great track on this album. Please remember that you can find reviews of albums and gigs on the blog, and the links are in the show notes. Just search for hilaryseabrook.blogger.com. I hope you enjoy listening to Harmonious World and do get in touch with any comments you might have. Thanks for listening once more.
Teddy bear, daddy, oh hey, look at that cowboy coming down. Hey, can I have a pair of boots like that to wear? And daddy, can I have a big elephant over there? The folder, just like I told ya. I used to ask a million questions every day, but now I've flown the nest and I'm technically growing up. I still ask my daddy for advice because I know that he'll be nice enough to tell me when I'm gonna get shown up or blown up or landed in a stew. Can I eat the chicken pink? There's a blockage in the sink and I don't know what to do. Sometimes I need reassurance or my name on his car insurance. Oh, it's so nice to have my daddy there. I used to ask for a toy, now it's what do you think of this boy? Poor daddy, will the questions never end? He still has to work hard for his annual Father's Day card. Now I'm standing on my own 2 feet, but it's really hard to make
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.